did well in game one, you have a bit of a better leg to stand on than if you're a team who had a really rough start. So that's something that I'm looking out for. But basically what you just mentioned, a little bit more nerdiness, you know, a little bit more cleverness in the rotations, because Sanhok is really the brute force map. We saw a lot of good fights, we saw a lot of good team fights being taken, and a lot of rotations that didn't go that well.
Yeah, I mean, we said it during the game as well, right? It's that kind of map that, as a professional player, if you get the zone, you're going to be really, really happy about it, right? You're going to sit there and just know that you're going to have some kind of kill potential going your way. I mean, it's horrible, right? There's so few options for you out there. So, yeah, Arango coming up next, lot of different kind of early game strategies that you can apply, and that's what we're going to see as well. Some of these favorites, I am pretty sure, are going to come out swinging on that map, and I think one of them that we've just seen coming into the game as well, which was Indonesia, by the way. It's going to have a good game as well. We saw it in the interview. How much are really going to change? Not too much. I guess that's kind of the storyline. Yeah, fair enough.
After that game.
Yeah, because if they pull off rotations like this, I'm not sure what can go out of what we've just witnessed in game one.
That I have my eye on is a little bit Kyrgyzstan. I think they would look very convincing in their fights. They didn't get a zone at all. They had a tough early game to work their way through, and they were looking good as a team. They were looking like a unit, and that's I think one thing that you cannot understate in a tournament like this, where there's so many rosters that are just pieced together.
Ini nih lagi viral parfum.
No, cek Shopee dulu. Yang murah banyak, yang termurah hanya di Shopee. Gratis ongkir lagi. 11 November, promo puncak Shopee 11 Big Sale.
And that's a really good sign when you come into the maps where they're not as limited into what they can do. They can be more creative, they can zone and get those fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 5 frags is what we've seen in the last game. That is a good indication of how frag strong these guys are. And ladies and gentlemen, we're heading into match number 2. It's going to be Arango for the first time today, for the first time at the WEC Championship here in Riyadh. Live from Riyadh. This beautiful venue, this beautiful stage right in front of us. You should come here if you're anywhere close and watch this spectacular event in person.
Yes. It's the esports festival vibe again.
Oh, yes.
I'm so in love with the vibe. It's not just one event. There's a ton of different stuff going on. There's a few PlayStations around the place, you know, booths where you can do some fun stuff. It's a good time. But we're getting serious here, all right? The talking time is over. We're ready for our first air angle of the tournament. We talked about it plenty, what this map has to offer. And we're going to see what the teams make of it now. Indonesia in Milta. We've got Myanmar in Novo. So far, no hot drops to be seen. An insane amount of space for Chile here as they are trying to push Romania right into that Lipovka edge. But I'm feeling like there's got to be some spice at the end of the playing path here with a few teams still left in it.
Yeah, Brazil and Morocco, I think, both making their way towards northern Georgia Pole. And if that happens, we might see a contest. Same goes for Bulgaria. They're flying towards the South Georgia Pole area as well. So dodging towards it might just result in another hot job as well. Not too easy to find any kind of ground at the moment. Zone shifts far towards the north. France is going to be the team deepest inside the circle center at the moment. But then again, Azerbaijani in that specific zone. Not exactly the place you'd play. I think they're going to rotate out of there sometime soon as well. I mean, the warehouses are incredibly strong. The cross-section compounds are incredibly strong. Lots of really strong compounds overall on that northern side. If you have prio towards it, it's going to almost secure you a relatively strong early game.
Yeah, you do have to take those odds. You do have to take those positions to see if you can play them into late game. Romania, really, really bad start for them into their game 1. Now to game 2, they're trying to correct some of those issues, as they only had 2 of their members from the qualifier actually in the finals as well. But I have just been told we've got a little bit of a re-host coming on through, so this match does have to be restarted. And yeah, we'll have to keep you guys waiting for another short bit. We're going to keep it nice and sweet, but that air angle wasn't the one to be.
No, it was not the one meant to be. France is going to be fuming. I think France is going to be fuming. They want the same circle again. Yeah, we can see the desk is fuming as well. Some Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, quick tech delay. We'll head right back into the next match. Someone must have not connected, I guess. The only explanation I have.
Didn't see a 3-man, but that's a very likely thing. That's something that could have gone wrong with the game settings as well, right? Sometimes you see the first circle and you realize, oh, that's a little bit too big. That's not.
Was it too big? Did you spot that?
No, I didn't spot that. That does sometimes happen. I am running on very low sleep and very low caffeine to make my way to this tournament. I'm not spotting circle sizes today.
I had like 17 hours of delay.
I'm just here to smile at the camera and talk about the video game, right?
Yeah. That's kind of sad because I wanted to see friends now what they do with it, because we've said like these northern circles with just overall lots of prio, they kind of give you lots of options, but as you said as well, it's kind of a gamble, right? If the circle doesn't go with these circles towards the northern side, as it always is, it's really hard to rotate out of it if you've committed to a compound, because there's so much open space. There's very few rotation paths you can take later on as well, so you kind of have to just roll with the zone and maybe try to take an edge fight later on, because
you can quickly find yourself into a compound that doesn't really give you enough options. So like the warehouse on top of the hill is something that's super popular for that reason, because it does give you all the information at least, right? You're committing to a compound, you gotta commit at least 2 players to it. That's usually enough to scare off the opposition, but it does give you a ton of information around. So you couple that maybe with 2 players in Severny, 2 players in the Crossroads, something like that is quite popular amongst these teams, and then you're okay. But the zone shifts hard west, you're still sending it in phase 3, right? So you're never guaranteed. Phase 1 can be a bit treacherous and can sort of give you a false sense of security, but you still play the odds, because a lot of the times a good zone 1 will be good for you.
Yeah, as you said, especially these western circuits, it does shift west, north side circle. It's going to be really tough to rotate out of these compounds. Very few spots.
Wave to the camera.
It does go east, sometimes even tougher, but at least you can work your way in. And there it goes, the reigning champions, ladies and gentlemen. They're some of the most fabulous fraggers that we have in PUBG Mobile, some of which play at the very highest level internationally as well in their respective organizations, not only for their country but for their organizations as well. Kyrgyzstan, there we have right here. And I saw Old Boy as well with a paper in his hand. He's preparing.
Yes.
He's looking at the drop spots. He's looking at the strats. Yeah. He wants to make this one work. First game, unfortunately, they just about fell short of the very top placements, but it's been a good showing as well.
This is what I'm saying. These guys, they know their drop spots and they know how to prepare for them. And
that one was for me.
Love to see that.
That was for me.
Oh, nice little hearts.
Right back at you.
Got some hearts in the chat maybe for this pretty man, as they were massive in game number 1.
And there we have it. And the Turkish representatives as well. I know they've struggled this year, but I believed in them anyways. Look at him smiling. I love it. It's okay. He's been my favorite player in recent times. Yes, they've struggled, but as I said, this is going to be their tournament. Fragging power is definitely not a problem for that roster.
Something you can say about a lot of squads in this as well, right? This is why it's so unpredictable. It's why it's so tricky to say what is going to go down. Yeah. I love this. I love just getting a little bit of an impression. You just get a little bit of a sort of a mood snapshot, you know?
They have the same hair dye.
You see
I
how
just noticed. That's really cool.
You just see roughly what's going on in the minds, in the heads, right? You get a little bit of an impression. Some people, they're in the tunnel, they're mega focused. Others, a little bit more joking around, a little bit more relaxed and confident, right?
There it is, France. They look happier than I thought they would look after that rehost.
Yeah. They got robbed.
Yeah, they got robbed. Who is the culprit? Show it to them. But yeah, they've been struggling first game. Nevertheless, it's been sad, I guess we said. That was kind of a big problem. There we have it. Bulgaria as well. These guys came prepared. They've shown us a couple of good frags in the early stages of Zanog as well. So excited to see them play. And ladies and gentlemen, headsets are being picked up. That might just mean we are getting into the game.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's picking up the headsets. That's a good sign.
Looking good.
That is a good sign.
Looking good. The players are locking in. I have a feeling like they're loading in as well. And we will finally get that Erangel on the way that everybody has been waiting for. Drop maps soon to be put away. This is where the preparation ends. And it's where the action starts.
pillows being readied. The hand warmers are not really needed in this climate, fortunately. That's why you don't see them as much here. That's the good thing about playing in Riyadh. Even in winter, it's a cool like 28, 30 degrees, which makes it quite comfortable to play. Obviously, everything is AC, so we might even have like 20, 22 in here, which, yeah, as we said, does actually make a difference when obviously playing these games. Yeah. Not only does your phone stay cool, but also you just don't need these hand warmers that you sometimes do, even at very big international lands. I've seen them on the table.
Perks of being eventually, but yeah, lights are out, players in the lobby. I think it should be for us to get into the game, but the lights are turned back on, so I'm scared now. I'm scared now. I'm scared. I have baited as well. I've baited everybody that's watching into getting excited. I just hope nobody takes their headset off right now, right? That would break my spirit.
Team ready. I think we're going into the plane. Ladies and gentlemen.
There we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring it back up. We are going into match number 2 of the WEC, the World Esports Championship by IESF. And this time around, for sure, I think. Maybe. Anyways, it's match 2. Let's hope for not another rehost. This is a disastrous plane for anyone that wants to be in the eastern side. And I think, yeah, that may... Okay, that... I don't even know what to say anymore. This is, okay, it's always horrible for France, but for everyone else, that's kind of horrible. Yeah. And they're going to be fuming as well.
The thing is as well, the last plane gave us a bit of an impression of where everybody really wanted to loot, and if there was any uncertainties about drop spots, they were kind of being cleared up in that first map. Yeah. And now we come into a map where half of the teams cannot go where, half of the teams is an overstatement, but maybe 4 or 5 teams cannot go where they want to go. We had a team North George, South George, and a team in crates.
Yeah, South George can't even be reached right now. That's disastrous.
They could all drop for the same few cars and try to go there, but
I mean, they are right now. Look at Bulgaria and Morocco.
I think it's Morocco trying to force their way into South George. Brazil is not here this time, so there's a little bit more space. But they still have to.
Military base?
They still have to flex around here a little bit. It looks like Brazil's still in the plane, and they're quickly adjusting. And I love to see that. It's another good sign for me. They're not just trying to do what they did last game. They're adapting on the fly. Nicely, they realize there's no sense of going South George here or North George.
Interesting. Interesting to say the least. And, well, okay.
That's even better. That's even better for France than the last circle.
Yeah, that is even better because everyone
nobody
else
is close.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think the circle is a little bit tougher to predict in terms of ending. I think that we've seen instances of this where it shifts down south all the way. Yeah. And there isn't really that specific compound that you take in this one, knowing you're going to be in for the next 3 phases. But yeah, either way, we have a contest. I haven't even seen this. It's Jordan against Myanmar. Myanmar opting to go for Noble, so does Jordan. First knock has been secured, second one as well. They went down just afterwards, and now the players are raining on through. Shotgun in hand, doesn't even matter. It's Lewis who takes him down with a micro Uzi, and I think it's just 1 player left arrived now, and that is Miracle.
It's a disaster for Jordan at this point. They are getting one of the through. The res has come through. He does get one. Godspeed taken down. It's just life left, and he does get cleaned up as well. That was fast, clean, quick, whatever you want to put it. Myanmar has ran through this hot drop.
I mean, if you would have told me that that was going to be the outcome before the fight, I wouldn't have believed you. Jordan just generally, in my opinion, the team with the more fragging power, frankly, in that roster, but they make it clean as well, and that makes it really fast too. Myanmar just not wasting any moment whatsoever. First note comes through immediately afterwards. Any connectivity they had, Molotov rained in, the nade raid in, did another 50 damage to the guy up on the stairs, and then even shotguns can't help you at this point, right? So massively played by Myanmar. 4 frags being picked up in the early stages, and unless it's going to be a rehost, that's a good start.
Don't jinx it. Don't stop talking about that rehost right now. It's not happening. It's not happening. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting circle. We talked about it a little bit. You said, well, you can't really predict where it goes, and that's absolutely true. But just because the plane path is so far away from it, playing the far side can just give you so much space and so many options. So I would love to see a team like France really go deep in this one and play more towards the western side of the center and take a huge amount of ground for themselves. That should be fairly uncontested. The only team that's anywhere close would be Morocco. Should be a good way for them. them to go. First few rotation shots coming out. It's an early one for the Romanian squad. But no matter how early you go, when you're this far away from it, you're not really catching up to teams that were looting much closer.
Not really. So they have one of the strongest teams right now, power in their respective region. And then obviously, I would have loved to see, to have seen Satan in there as well, but obviously he's Syrian, so he's not going to be able to play for Saudi Arabia. But if that would have happened, these guys would have definitely been in the top favorites for me as well. The one player that joined relatively late, the newest addition in that power roster. I think he joined a couple of months ago, I think July maybe even June. I have to recheck that, but either way, he's not going to be here. That means it's going to be the fourth player that is kind of new to that roster, and it also means new practice has to be done, getting him up to speed in terms of all the ways they play.
Yeah. As someone that's gone through that recently, it's easier said than done. You do have that honeymoon period at the start sometimes, but it does cost you a lot of cohesion, a lot of team play that you do have to rebuild. This easy again to think a roster is strong on paper, but you do have to put in that time that everybody else is putting in to try and get yourself back up to speed. This is a team I've been looking at, and a team that's in a good spot right now. Again, not going mega center, but taking a nice little compound split, and they have one player off to the bunker, scouting further in. So I love this from Kyrgyzstan. Good
stuff. We expected a contest in South George, but I expected a little bit more aggression from both of these teams, but they seem to let each other rotate on through, which I'm very surprised about. So Chile almost made it through, but apparently they know that there's still one player in there. And has Chile just left him stranded? Have they actually sacrificed this player to be able to send 3 across? I'm not so sure I agree with that, but apparently that's what happened, and Brazil knows this. This is the smart thing about it. I wouldn't even necessarily expect someone to still be in there, but they must have had the sightlines perfectly on their building. They must have known no one really exited that, and now they're hunting him down.
They're hunting. Shotguns, util. He's going to be proning on the left. He can't get more than one here, surely. It's a one and done angle, but he's not done yet. Dancing around a bit, makes it a bit harder. But not a chance there. This is what I mean. Cohesion is what you need. Nice play from Brazil. Like you said, they had the info from somewhere, but they act on it cleanly. No problem at all. Not waiting around. Nobody's going in solo. You love to see it.
Massive stuff. Brazil picks up the first frag. The ones that have just found themselves 10 placement points in the previous game will start off strong again. This is methodical. This is just overall really, really smart and sound play. They're not taking things too fast. They know the kind of pace they have to go for in this lobby, just to back that off as well, off of that first Sanhok game. So Brazil, one of the best spots right now in general, not only in the overall leaderboard, just generally in that lobby. So gonna be the team to watch for the next couple of games.
Pakistan, slow approach. Playing it safe. Trying to keep all their members alive as Goku is on a sliver of HP right now. But it's been a quiet early game. It's really just been Chile, I think, bridge camped, and then it's been that one hot drop. Now it's starting to kick on off. That's Kyrgyzstan. Metro position. They have picked up a knock towards Mongolia, a team that hasn't really gotten anything going just yet.
Endless has been knocked. Should be brought back. As far as I can tell, the smoke is already there. The players on that northern side are looking for the flash, and they will find it as well. It's Flyky. They will find the first one as Kyrgyzstan finally finds the first frag in this round. Be reminded, they haven't gotten any placement or found 5 eliminations, which is a good sign. a good kind of indication of how strong these guys are in terms of fragging power. I've said it time and time again, but it is true. When these guys get into that kind of flow state, there's very few teams that can stop them. We might just see them again.
Oh, and also they're warm, you know? They're ready. They're fired up. They're lit now, though. I think there's a player a little bit caught off to the north there, if I'm not mistaken. But they are trying to group that back up, trying to not get caught out. Phase 2 has come on in. It's evidently shifted west, because everybody we see right now is in a car driving west. But it's, I think, Kyrgyzstan that's in the compound first, but this might be an instant breach. This might be 3 teams around here, Felix.
And the breach came on through, and the question only is Pakistan going to third party that, because they have the option to do so? But no, even Kyrgyzstan is dodging the contest. And they're not breaching this, they're driving on through. They don't want to have any part in this whatsoever, and I think part of it is due to the fact that Pakistan was really close, and they would have potentially third-party this from the outside, and that would have not gone well for Kyrgyzstan. They make it out alive as full. That's the big and essentially good decision as well. As Pakistan, instead of rotating on through, they haven't reached the compound either. Instead, they're chasing around the northern side of it, all around the plain area, as they've realized that position is open for grabs as well.
What an absolute mess around that compound. Everybody tries to go for it at the same time, and in the end it's Romania that pays the price. Not what they signed up for, but it is what they got, and plenty of teams able to reset cleanly. Kyrgyzstan, can they get that res back on up? I'm not 100% sure. But Pakistan has reset fully out of this one, even fueling up some cars, making themselves ready for the next circle once that comes around. France, though, on the other side, that's not looking pretty.
Oh, really? I think 2 players have immediately been taken down.
They're out.
Well, yeah, they're
Must
good
have
at that.
breached this app.
They've lost a player early on as well. That means, yeah, they're eliminated. Jordan and France both out. 2 of the teams that we said were in a pretty good spot coming into the circle, especially France. Like, seeing France, one of the first teams, that's got to be a really big miscalculation how they wanted to play this circle. Because they've had all the access towards the northwestern side.
It goes to show about what we said earlier, right? Phase 1 is nice and dandy, but it doesn't mean that much. And once a hard shift comes in for Phase 2, everybody makes hasty decisions. Everybody has to try and be fast on their feet. And if somebody is fast enough to catch you out, your game is done just like that. PUBG is very cruel in that regard. As Mongolia, they were also one of the teams to lose one earlier. But they have redeemed themselves now with that France wipe. That's going to feel good. As we see Brazil taking it very, very slow on that western bridge. A treacherous bridge at that. A very easy to camp bridge. Nobody likes crossing it. But they've really taken their time at this point. They've stuck around here for so long. They should have a good idea of what they want to do with it.
Brazil, first time they really have to move. It's gonna try and find a spot towards the northern side. But first of all, it's gonna be an air job for them. As if that position wasn't good enough, they get an air job. They dropped it off as well. Ukraine, in the meanwhile, activating. Havlik finding a quick down with a headshot. Not sure towards who. Now we see it towards Myanmar, apparently. Godspeed being flashed out. Means the first frag has been secured as well. Kyrgyzstan, in the meanwhile, has made their own way towards that little shack. Not exactly the position I want to see Kyrgyzstan at, but to be centralized for the time being. And even these knocks will be revived, no problem whatsoever. So they will stay alive as full.
It's not a power position for now, but it is a power position in the late game because you do get to play out to the ridges around you, especially if it does go west of you. And I think they're a little bit further towards the eastern side of the circle, so this could have been a good position. But their cars will be popped, and again, it was very early. It was Phase 2, right? So there's a lot of chances for the circle to still go absolutely to the other side of the map, and then you're caught out. Still, they're keeping themselves alive, and I am never counting out a 4-man Kyrgyzstan. This is looking spicy, though. This might be a 4-on-4 fight here in the compound, Felix.
Yeah, Indonesia has to be ready for it. Let's see if Randy is. He's got that DBS in hand. Doesn't even matter. First knock comes through. And the nade to finish it off as well. Spark immediately being taken out. I mean, Saudi Arabia is down to 3. But the Reno comes on through. Nawaf, originally the 5th player for Saudi Arabia. Apparently he's been the stand-in now who some really big damage, but is it going to be enough? That's the question. I don't think they found the flash on it. And meanwhile, Indonesia really has on that third player.
Oh, it's a close nade as well. They want to close this out, but there's more people coming on in. There's more people interested in this. It's a very isolated compound. Makes it all the more powerful. Nawab wants to pull on through. That's a nice little peek. That's a nice little knock. Slows them right back down. And Indonesia now, they've got their own wounds to take care of. They can't speed through this like they have been in the past few minutes.
Good stuff. Res.
Nipis madu.
Kamu punya kondom nggak?
Harus ya?
Harus. Dapat nggak?
Sekali coba Sutra 003, nggak mau yang lain.
Zuxi, that's the next country eliminated, with Egypt being the third one in total here, as we are down to just 13 teams in phase number 3.
Doesn't look like a big compound to fight for, but it is, as you can always play up on the hill from here. You're always good in this lower ground. As Randy lets a few shots ring on through, just letting his presence known, hoping to scare the vultures away. But they do have to take care of Saudi Arabia in the compound if they want to play a good game out of here. They can't sit around and let them be happy neighbors. And you can see they're not aiming to do that either. The util's been looted up, and it's been expanded right away. 2 more nades on Randy. Maybe going to try to do something with that, but they do want to make this push whenever they can. And you can see they're smoking up for it, they're grouping up for it. They want this fast.
It's the smart way to go about this as well. Nate doesn't quite get inside the building, but I don't think it would have taken down Vidan anyways. And DBS on both sides is going to make it at least somewhat interesting. And man advantage doesn't really matter that much anymore now that it's down to these really close range battles. One more nade in hand. This might just be the one that gives Indonesia the advantage. It pops barely inside the door frame, doesn't take down any of the Saudi players, and now they run inside. Third party comes in. Brazil is there to charge into the action too, and this is falling apart. Indonesia is being taken down one by one, and Saudi Arabia somehow still makes it out of that scenario alive. 3 frags as well for them. What a turnaround coming out from Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that's big, and that's a heartbreak for Indonesia. They were looking good. They got the first early frags. They were looking to take control, but just like that, few good DBS shots. The nade's not really doing any damage, right? The nade's just barely tickling the players, and it's not enough. It costs them the game. Pakistan, once again, back into that plane crash ridge. This time it's not going to be as easy to reset. This time they have a full Team Turkey on their side, and well, the car play is not going great either.
Nah, don't tell me did it get stuck? Oh my lord, it got stuck. Solka is going to be able to take a break because of that. They might just find 2 more. 3 angry Turkish players right on the outskirts of this huge dip, and Solis finds Shamir now finally as Elian goes down to this is disastrous, this is falling apart. No real trades happening so far. There's one, Solis gets flushed out too. Oh no, that should not have happened. Turkey, unfortunately, despite that great engagement, loses a player, and that also makes it kind of somewhat not really worth it. Now it kind of does, as they are up to 6 frags. But they've lost a player that they shouldn't have, in my opinion. And they're in a great spot to work with that still, but
hold that
as a foreman, they would have done so much more.
Yeah, here's Ukraine though, flying in onto Morocco. Drive-bys are there, the utils there is good, but it's not good enough. The DBS though, to seal the deal. Ukraine with a big clear on this eastern side, but they won't have a lot of peace for themselves. Look at Chile, looking over their shoulders, and then we still have Kyrgyzstan, still in that shop, still waiting to gatekeep whatever they can on that southern side. So they got to be quick on their feet here, Ukraine, if they want to get anything more done this game.
And Ukraine, in the meanwhile, we can see it on the leaderboard. They have been able to revive both of the knocked players. Chapo, before being taken down, he threw a really great nade himself. I was excited because the nade coming back from Ukraine was perfect, but he threw a perfect nade as well. So Ukraine was in trouble for a second there, but now the pressures come on through and they are back to a full match. So Ukraine has salvaged as much as they can. get that 5 frags, and brought it back to a full 4 lane. Ukraine in a perfect spot now to make even more out of this round. You said this is a power spot, by the way, from Kyrgyzstan. I would agree with you, if not for their circle. Shifts barely outside that little shack. And with Mongolia playing that rich line, yes, it's a 2-man, but still...
That's the problem as well.
They
would have shifted further away. At least Mongolia would have had to leave that ridgeline at some point. But now they can sit this out fully. And Kyrgyzstan can only hope that Ukraine goes the other way and maybe starts a fight on that ridge, right? Maybe starts a fight that they can third party. But even if it's so, I don't know if they have a single vehicle to do it, Felix. They might just have to go full honest here. Take the fight up to the Mongolian duo. It might be the only thing left in the tank for them. Not really the outcome they would have wanted. Nice spray coming out from Balia. But once again, this is just a duo. And they've got Saudi Arabia on their doorstep now. They've got Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan has already made the run, Felix. Kyrgyzstan is in this.
Yeah, and they're not leaving anytime soon. They can't really either. It's going to be big, big trouble for them. Now the smoke ball comes out. I love to see this. It's 5-6 smokes already being popped just outside the buildings. There's one nade. A little bit too early, but it popped absolutely perfect. I'm kind of sad for him that he didn't get anything off of that. That was a perfect nade, to be honest. But yeah, Kyrgyzstan kind of waits a little bit more, kind of baited them into using their utility. And now, 2 nades left. Could still mean trouble, but it's only 2 nades at the same time. More smokes now being thrown out by Kyrgyzstan. This could be good. Around 60 damage done to Nord, but it's not enough for enough. Maybe this one is. One more nade. It takes him down, and it's down to a 2v2. This is going to open things up.
Shopee 1111 Big Sale. Promo puncak 11 November. Ikuti flash sale 1000 iPhone.
Nawaf and the rest of Saudi Arabia is going to get interested in this. This is just, they're living on ball time at this point. And there it is. Zerij finds the trade, and now it's a disaster because now Saudi Arabia knows this team is weak. Now they know for a fact that they can start making the plays. So does Kyrgyzstan. I would not be surprised if Kyrgyzstan gets the res on through here and cleans us up after now. They only ever needed one of these knocks. They've got it. It's another grenade coming on through. Just don't get flushed now. Don't get brought into a single 1v1. You should be alright. But the DBS versus Saiga still ringing on through. Finally cleaned up. But Kyrgyzstan is getting these frags. That fall into Saudi Arabia. And they've lost one in the process.
Yeah, that's the sad part about it. Yes, you stay alive, but it's only top 7. Like, what do you realistically get off of this except a 1 placement point? It's not much. It's really not much. And that's going to mean it's a problem for Kyrgyzstan in terms of securing points. They've made it this far, but if you go out now, yeah, once again, 3 points. The 2 Alims and the 1 placement point is just not going to be enough for you. A little bit of a drive around here. Flykey tried to hit the shot with the DBS. He's going to get another chance. Oh, that's a 1-shot. Are you kidding me? He takes him down. In the meanwhile, it's giving Zarek, though, who loses his 1v1 on his own. And thus, it's down to the 1v1 now on this edge. Southwestern side. Who's going to get 1 more placement point and the Alum to top it off?
And you could tell there with the scope in from Flykey, he can't believe that they have so much space. He can't believe that that's the only player next to him, that buggy is really all he's got to deal with. Now, the send comes on through, and Flykey is left all alone on his side. A lot of space for him to run on through and try to find a way into the circle. This fight's not over yet, but it's now been made possible for Kyrgyzstan. A scrappy one of that, a messy one. They're both just fighting on for dear life. While on the other side of the circle, we still have 2 4-mans that play entirely different games than these 2 solos are playing here.
Smoke is more than just perfect, man. If he would only know. That's one hell of a perfect smoke. To hit it like that on a down slope is nasty, to be honest. I've seen that very rarely. Hitting nades like this is might just be even tougher. But yeah, great stuff coming out from one of these teams. Holding down the ridge lines, salvaging as much as they can. But with how many solos are left alive, I think it's going to come down to a lot of 1v1s now on these remaining edges, as everyone is being pushed apart now. So the zone starts to move. Likely takes him down. And Hidden is going to be the next one to fall. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is out in 7th place, but be reminded, 8 points, that's far from a bad game.
It's a beautiful game for Saudi Arabia as well. They are in placements too. But Flyke is not done just yet. He can hop into that car and he can send it north. We know that he can, he doesn't. He doesn't have as much space as he would maybe want to, but still not out of it. Still not done for. Ukraine finds a knock onto Chile. That's actually that solo cleared on out as we move into our top 5 for the first air angle of the tournament. And look who's there again with 4 players, Felix. It's the winners of the last one. They were clean on Sanok, and so far they're looking clean on this air angle.
Yeah, look with how much confidence they scout this area. This is exactly what you need to do. This reminds me of very, very high-level play in a lobby that you would kind of just have the advantage on based off of who you're playing against, right? And yeah, this is the type of play that gets you the point, right? And if you can back it off with individual skill, obviously, then this is the perfect type of play that you want to see in a grand final. And Brazil, they've gathered the confidence in the first match, and they're showing it now. A couple of smokes being taken out. They want to secure this ridge line. They want to secure this high ground. It's the highest spot in the circle as well. And you can tell that it's really important to them by how much defense they're building up here. How early as well. It's 45 seconds of the zone closing. They're already popping the smokes. They're already putting the vehicles into the right spots. They really, really want to secure this win above everything else.
And this is a perfect zone for them as well. They can stay in on that northern edge. They can just not let Ukraine come on up, and they should be controlling a ton of this space. The compound's going to stay, and Ukraine is going to stay on their side of the ridge here, most likely. It'd be crazy to see them do anything else. But there's a chance that Ukraine steps on the Myanmar solo. There's a chance something goes awry there. And we should really, really see Flyke's adventure here, come to an end. Because there should just be no way in hell he makes it into the zone, but I've seen crazier things.
Yeah, so have I. I'll have to wait and see. Brazil, for the time being, has now secured that dip on the northern side. Have kind of rotated downwards. They try to kind of harass everyone else on the edges, Flyke included, but it's not really worked out perfectly up until this point. Haven't really gathered any frags in the last couple of minutes. But as you said, Flyke should be the next to follow realistically. No one really has to fight except Flyke, or really has to move except Flyke, and there goes. It goes the way of Ukraine, though, who found their 10th frag.
10.
With Tulika grabbing 4, even though he's being taken out already for a couple of minutes. That's massive as well. Yeah. Ukraine has fought absolutely everyone on their southern side, and they've come out on top on absolutely everyone as well.
10 elims is absolutely massive. As I think they're very easily going to make that 11. They should, even if they trip over the Myanmar solo, they should clean that up in the end. And they should start getting ideas of how many players are where as well. I think they're well aware of Brazil being the major threat on the north, but it's very easy for them to think that there's just a 3-man in the compound here. It's very easy for them to think that that's the setup they're working against. But if my boy there has a car that he has cover behind, then maybe they'll start smelling something. Maybe they'll start realizing something's up. But once again, I'll say it again. Brazil is in the power position here with all the high ground in the world. And Ukraine is the one that really has to pull something out of the bag here.
I'll see what happens. I mean, it's a good zone. It's a really good zone.
That's the shift they needed.
For Ukraine, for Romania as well, though. Because that ridgeline, sooner or later, it's not going to be in. At least it's going to be in this zone, but never in the next phase, which is going to be center anyways. That I just realized it's phase 8. But either way, yeah.
Brazil has to make
with that
a play.
being center, they're going to be the first ones to have to leave that ridgeline. Yeah, as you said, Brazil is going to be the first ones to have to really move and take in fight. And look, there's nothing you could fight. Honestly, I think even breaching the compound at this point is a valid option. I think that's what they're going to do.
I think that's what you have to do, and I think with as low amount of pressure as coming out of this compound, they might opt for that, because sending it in between the compound and Ukraine, yes, you have a little bit of a low ground on exactly where Manetboy is playing, but it's almost suicide. They should be breaching the compound, and they are breaching the compound.
Oh, I love it.
If they get out of this clean, if they manage to pull this off, it's massive for Brazil, but that's easier said than done.
First nade comes on through as the breach commences. Brazil has arrived. No one's being taken out on that rotation, so that means Brazil is 4.
Ukraine's already pulling up. They're not even letting this play out. They're not wasting any time. They know that this is really possible for Brazil to come out as the victorious team in the compound, so they're not waiting around for it. That's another knock coming on in. The pressure is there. Ukraine is playing this to a T, but I don't know if they know about the solo that's in between their lines right now, Felix.
Yeah, Myanmar could be the X factor here. One more frag comes on through. Kristen goes down. Arabao goes down as well. These are 2 massive frags for Brazil that they will secure as well. 6 frags have already been taken onto the leaderboard. by the Brazilian squad. And these guys are just continuing that performance whatsoever. Havlik has been spotted out. One more nade comes on through, takes him down to Brazil. Are you kidding me? That's massive. That's absolutely insane. As they're clearing out the second team too, and Romania has been eliminated. That just means it's Ukraine with 2 players left on that ridgeline, and the one solo from Myanmar.
Old boy as well now caught out. There's the solo striking. I think the kill said stolen away. The solo doesn't even get it. But it's so clean from Brazil. Slonic, what can you do? He needs 3-4 knocks here for the 3x. It's not meant to be. So smart from Ukraine, but so clean from Brazil to instantly turn that around, instantly isolate the solo, take him out. They're looking fantastic right now, Alex, and they're taking this win, no doubt in my mind.
I don't think so either. That shot comes on through. It's the DBS across 30 meters or more, and Brazil takes it home again. Back-to-back chicken dinner. Is there any better way to start this? I think the answer is definitely not.
That was so clean. They missed the compound. And even though Ukraine, I was so impressed how fast they reacted and how they instantly get that instant knock, make it so hard for Brazil. But Brazil cleans up the compound and they don't waste a second. Adrian was out on that outside wall, starting the push with a shotgun, instantly has the teammates in the top floor, nade in the corner. It was perfect. Like, that was so fast, so smart, so aggressive. They deserve that win. With every fiber of their being, they deserve to win that. And I'm just shocked. They're playing this really damn amazing.
Man, I was worried for Brazil. I said that Brazil has so many great talents and players and such a thriving and active scene that I wasn't exactly sure whether or not they were going to be the favorites, right? Because obviously I put a couple of players before them, just realistically, mechanically, coming out of that country. But I mean, they've proven me wrong so very much. I mean, is there anything to prove up until this point? I don't think so. But also go good up for Ukraine. This is the second time they've had a chance of the match. The second time they've unfortunately just about lost out on it, despite making the correct calls. Yeah. Right? This specifically, you said it during the game, I didn't even notice it. Havlik running into the combine, knowing that Brazil is a 4-man, we're a 3-man only. If we don't get the third party in right now, we're gonna have a chance because they're running out of this one as a 4-man. Yeah.
The only thing you could maybe say is do that as a 2-man, right? But then you're putting yourself behind a little one story with just 2 players. You don't really know what's going on in the compound. One nade can just ruin your day. So I think that was so good for both sides. And I just thought, like, if you're watching this from home and you're like, what are they so excited about? Put yourself in the shoes of Brazil. Think about everything they're communicating in that fight. They have to nade players in their top floor. They have to worry about maybe potentially a spoiler from Romania in their bottom floor. They have to worry about getting knocked from the outside. Ukraine suddenly in our compound. What's going on there? And they still coordinate that pincer attack on Havlik so damn well and so fast.
The 2 nades from whoever was on that balcony, or maybe it was from the windows of
the window on the stairs,
Unbelievable.
So good.
Right, then he hits the second nade as well. And that was, as you said as well, that was the pincer movement as well. That was while his teammate was already on the outskirts of the compound on the western side, right? So they knew exactly what to do.
Seconds after they cleared the compound.
Decision after decision after decision, right immediately afterwards. We clean this one out, he's done. We clean this one out, he's done. We have one more Ukrainian player, clean him out, done. No one's wasting a second. And I think Ukraine was kind of overwhelmed by that as well, with how fast Brazil dealt with everyone else.
Yes. I was watching. I knew where every player on the map was, and I was overwhelmed by how fast I went. So no chance for having that to do anything about that. I just wonder, you know, there's 2 schools of comms you could have in that moment if you're Brazil. Either everybody's yelling and everything just works out, or they just in full focus mode, and there's not a whole lot of talking going on, but everybody realizes what's happening. I wonder how their vibe is. We'll talk to them about that after the game. But that was nice to see. And honestly, we'll talk to some of the players most involved in this one. We have an interview here ready for you guys. It's no one else but Old Boy from Ukraine.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the big guy himself, Old Boy. How do you feel today?
I feel so good. First of all, I want to say, Assalamu alaikum, Habibi.
Wa alaikum assalam. Look at that. Assalamu alaikum, Habibi. Well, you know, the accent is beautiful. The flow. Woo, you're an Arab. That's it. I'm sure of that. Well, we got a few questions about what happened in the last match, on the last map. So, Rosehog, right? You've been putting a lot of pressure on a lot of teams as they were trying to enter the zone. How did you do that?
This question should be for Tulika, I think, because he's our IGL, he have idea and tactics. We playing how he's saying for us.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of Tulika, free man, free bird, pretty much going out there and gave us 4 eliminations. How did you manage to make him a free man?
I just know that here our Ukrainian machine, that's why.
Ukrainian machine, let's go with that, man. Woo, let's go. You see, man, they are hyped right there. So now, with that being said, all's good and great, pretty much, but you forgot about that one player in Myanmar team that pretty much came in and took away one of your team members. So how do you forget about it?
Yeah, that's our mistake. Next time gonna be better. Next time we're gonna focus about solo players. So next time it's not gonna be a problem, solo player.
Ooh, Ukrainian machine. It's not going to be a problem next time. Well, old boy, the world is watching. We're watching. And we are ready for the next thing happening right 24 IESF. Guys, take it away.
Do Brazil! Brazil come out with a back-to-back winner chicken dinner in our first 2 games. And what a statement to make at the very beginning of our journey here at the PUBG Mobile Championship at the WEC. I mean, we gotta talk about it. We have to start off with Brazil. The rotation that they made once again from George Pool or South George Pool to, I want to say, like a central location, Zone 3 and onwards. It was just, I love the control, I love the spacing, I love the 2-2 split. Very well played from the side of Brazil. Neptura, break it down for me.
It was just insane. That was so nice. It's really aggressive. It's really confident, right? You can tell how they drive, how they're moving, how they're communicating. You can see everything that's happening. They're communicating really well. They're ahead of each other. They're knowing what each person's going to be doing. They're on the ball all the time. And the zones coming in, they had that really nice zone prediction coming through. It really worked out for them, and actually really nice play coming into the compound as well at the last minute, because I was talking to you about how, hey, you know, actually Ukraine, they're looking really good to actually play spoiler to that hill, right? Yeah, but no, they went into the house and they cut that off. They stopped it in its tracks. So fantastic.
Yeah, I have to say, and DK, we talked about it. Are they going to be able to build on that momentum that they set up in Game 1? And it looks like the answer was yes.
It's a big astounding yes.
Yep.
Right. I mean, Brazil, it was like they just came in, they just started kicking down doors wherever they went. Right. And I mean, just the level of control that they did of the game, phenomenal strategy. Right. Such a power there, and that's definitely them just capitalizing on that momentum they were able to establish come Game 1. Game 2 looking great, and now we want to see, is that going to be able to move them even further forward? I mean, speaking about stats, I mean, here we have their stats on screen right now, and the only person not to bring anything in was Seven.
Got to step it up.
Right? Seven needs to step it up. I mean, looking at
he's 0 right now.
Looking at the rest of the crew and what they have shared to the table, so now we want to see a good balance come through from the entire Brazil squad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, he may not have had the limbs. He may have had a couple of knockdowns with the damage that he dealt. But at the end of the day, like the boys mentioned during the cast, it is a team game. That's what matters. Individual performance, sure. If you want to fight for that MVP, by all means. But I just want to win the whole thing. That's what matters to me. Like, as a team player, I want to get the championship. I want to get the title. I want to get the lion's share of the prize pool. And I want the title of champion. I want the bragging rights of it, you know? But stepping away from the side of Brazil and their incredible rotations and how they were able to take complete control, I want to kind of bring it back to the early stages of the game, like the same thing that we've seen in Game 1. Hot drops still happening. Once again, Myanmar, and this time it was with Jordan. They took down, Myanmar took down 2 players from Turkey in Game 1. This time, they wiped the entire Jordanian roster in the first couple of minutes in the game in Novo, I believe, in... I'm surprised. I thought there was more space, DK. What happened? Like, the map is big, right? Or am I blind?
They got to put a sticker on there that says, you know, objects are...
Yes.
Right.
Agreed.
They got to put it up. They put it on the rear view mirrors. They got to put it up on Erangel as well. But it's no surprise we need to see that kind of flow comes through from the teams, right? I mean, and both instances that we had of teams moving in, right? We had the first drop, then the rehost. both instances, exact same thing rather happened over and over. So it shows you that it was on purpose, right? It wasn't by mistake or anything. And speaking about on purpose, though, I mean, look at Slonik right here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Slonik was put in a 1v4 situation at the end, or rather 1v4v1. He was still able to get that last elim, I believe, from the third place team. I'm not sure if it was Indonesia or Myanmar rather, but he managed to get another extra elim for the team. And these points are definitely going to be very important come the end of the tournament, because every single point that you manage to get throughout every single game will make a difference.
Yeah.
It'll be the difference maker between you being top 1 and top 2. And obviously, everyone wants to get that first place spot at the end of the 3-day journey that we have for PUBG Mobile. But Ukraine, great to see that, you know, the experience that Old Boy has, bringing it to the table with the rest of the team. And it's not like he hasn't been playing, for example, with Havlik for a while as well, and their coach Bambino as well. Me and you, DK, have spoken to him before, and he's had quite a lot of impact on the team, and he's very well invested, very well, I would say, involved with the team. And I love seeing his impact along with the Ukrainian side in the tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see quite a bit of an insightful play being had by these players. And I mean, you can all just already look at the kind of pacing that we've seen come through from the Ukrainian side. Game 1 leading into Game 2. Yes, as the casters mentioned, we've not necessarily seen that level of success for Ukraine just yet, but they're pushing, they're building, right? So I'm expecting Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, we could definitely see quite a bit of a change up come in for the Ukrainian side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got Tulika as well, you know, IGL, he's the mastermind behind all of this, and it's looking very, very good for them. As you said, they are building, and that's what you want to see in day 1, right? I'm not really all that bothered about the first game, about the second game. It's the progression. Okay, first game, that's okay, it can be bad. Second game has to be a little bit better. Now we're looking at what we're going to be seeing in game number 3, and that is going to be the real show of how they might be going forward.
Yeah, getting to that halfway point of that first day, and I definitely want to see if Brazil, you know what, I would say, like Alex mentioned, this was the best way to start. Is there a better way to start it? I don't think so. You know what, I disagree. If they get another winner with a chicken dinner, that would be better. I mean, that would be insane. Getting 3, starting off the first day like that, that would be quite a statement to make for the Brazilian side. And I want to say, like, we had a lot of conversations about what to expect, who are our top 3, top 5 teams, and the names that we constantly talked about: Indonesia with Boom Esports. We mentioned Kyrgyzstan as the champions of last year. We mentioned Ukraine with Old Boy and his experience, and I would say, like, the entire roster's experience. It's not just him at this point, but he does have the most out of the roster. We also mentioned we mentioned Jordan at the start as well, but we didn't really get a chance what they can provide and what they can kind of put forward. So I don't want to say, like, I'm surprised by their performance, but I'm surprised that it's this strong.
This early.
Yeah, and this early, like, in the tournament as well. Back-to-back chicken dinners, and it's not like they had like 1 or 2 elims. No, they had a lot of elims in both games. So I definitely want to have a look at the overall ranking and see, like, who's going to be chasing Brazil, and who are going to be the teams that are going to be competing with them.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, looking at the graph, it looks kind of obvious what I'm going to say next, but Ukraine, because in that second game, right, you did see, yeah, Brazil had 6, 7 kills, I think 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 kills in the win, that's awesome. Ukraine had at least 10, 11, there you go. They had 11 eliminations there. So it's looking like we're going to be doing a little bit more kind of battling it out between these two, because Ukraine have not backed down. They were in a really tough spot there, and they managed to work it out super well. So I'm very excited for what they've got.
Yeah, and I do have to give a shout out to Myanmar as well. They've been performing very well in Game 1 and in Game 2. They're not afraid to take fights. The hot drops aren't really affecting them. So now my question to Myanmar is, you won the hot drop in Novo. Do you think Jordan is going to try and drop again? And are you going to be ready for something like that drops? Okay, I want more actions, I want more eliminations, I want more fights.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the scoreboard that we see in front of us is only for the last match. It is not the overall rank. Like you mentioned, Neptura, it was 8 elims for Brazil, but the 11 eliminations for Ukraine put them just 1 point behind Brazil in that second game. But yes, DK, hot drops, I want more.
11 points go a long way. Right?
Okay.
11 points.
11.
I mean it, yes.
11.
Yes. let that one sink in. But anyway, so I'm pretty curious to see, like,
Oh,
there's
there
the
we go.
answer.
There
As
we
it
go.
all falls over onto the board. Brazil, no surprise to see them sitting right up there in pole position, coming through with a glorious 36 points. I mean, 20 placement points, that is kind of to be expected, right?
Yep.
Coming off the back of 2 winner-winner chicken dinners. If they get the third one, it's with Turkey.
Yeah,
right?
but that's in bowling though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it sounds so good, right? You go from chicken to double chicken to... You can't say
Actually, you know what?
stuffed
Hold
chicken.
up. What do you think is like higher in the hierarchy of poultry? Is it chicken or turkey?
Well, turkey's
Asking
bigger.
the important questions
is
here at the
Turkey's
WEC
bigger.
2024.
Yes. Turkey's bigger. Right? You can put a chicken in a turkey. You can't do it the other way around.
Don't try doing that.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Listen. We're here to talk about gaming and esports. Do not listen to us when we're talking about food, okay? We don't know how to do that. We're gamers.
We're hungry
we can't
guys,
cook.
okay?
So we're gonna take a short break. Maybe look up a YouTube video on how to cook something properly. And if we can actually put a chicken in a turkey and a turkey in a chicken. Anyways, short break.
Del Monte Cuy Boba, seru banget.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're landing in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, for the World Esports Championship.
In a world where victories can be measured in gold and silver, some things are priceless.
Fully expected, and it is Baron will find him. Can shine for one with a quick trade from Impulse.
Some things are not bought with money.
The base is too open. Now Philippines is now taking the base of Indonesia. Remember their name.
The feeling of standing alongside your fellow countrymen, the emotion, the home crowd, the weight of a whole nation on your shoulders.
Sometimes I get emotional by the fact that I got chosen to be one of the representatives of my country. And yes, it's just a dream, honestly.
Here it's not just about the game, it's about the pride that unites us. Every match tells a story.
He needs to some missed shots. Sound picking up another one, another headshot. No way! 4 kills! What has happened?
From every corner of the globe. All eyes on WEC 24.
Early 1970s. The world was discovering the boundless possibilities of esports. While esports offered endless enjoyment and addictive allure, it lacked a certain depth and a sense of purpose. It needed something more, something larger than a trophy, something beyond individual gratification. That's when a vision emerged. A vision of uniting the world through esports. The International Esports Federation and the World Esports Championship were born. Its mission was clear: to create a stage where nations could unite and compete for the ultimate title, World Esports Champion. For these athletes and nations, the World Esports Championship was more than just a competition, more than just a game. A chance to make history, to leave a lasting legacy, to inspire a generation, and to represent their nation. Over the years, IESF started achieving greatness, year by year. Korea, Indonesia, Israel, Romania, worldwide. The World Esports capital changed, each year expanding significantly, getting bigger and bigger. Fast forward 15 years, IESF was determined to show the world the most valuable World Esports Championship. 140 nations gathered in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The WEC 24 story. 2024. Saudi Arabia prepares to host the 16th World Esports Championship after a spectacle made in Iași, Romania by IESF for WEC 23. New president, new challenges, and quite a bumpy road ahead. As the calendar turned to January, the national qualifiers took place, breaking dozens of records. In a wingspan of 3 months in every nation across the globe, athletes competed to get one step closer to the World Esports Championship and represent their nation on the global stage. However, as fate would have it, the road to WEC 24 was far from smooth. Things went south. 2 out of 3 offline regional qualifiers were forced to go online. Even though that barrier occurred, the online regional qualifiers shattered previous viewership records. The hype for WEC 24 was real. Meanwhile, Africa. IESF showed just how much potential is hidden in Africa. Over 180 athletes, 17 nations, and thousands of fans. All in one place for one specific reason: esports. The bumpy road came to an end. The slots for WEC 24 were secured and everyone was ready. The much anticipated 16th World Esports Championship set sails. WEC 24 Day 1.
down, shoot him in the head.
Promo puncak beli-beli Histeria 11-11. Diskon hingga 90% plus voucher diskon hingga 1,1 juta.
gun, shoot him in the head.
Shopee 11.11 Big Sale. 11 November.